Once upon a time, in a small Indian village, tucked between mustard fields and dusty banyan trees, there lived an old man named Harry. His back was bent like a bough left too long in the rain. His knees trembled when he stood, and his breath often came out in short, tired sighs. Yet every morning, before the sun fully opened its eyes, Herodus woke up, washed his face at the hand pump, and lifted a heavy basket of vegetables onto his head. The basket was always too heavy for a man of his age. Potatoes, onions, gourds, spinach, and cauliflower pressed down on his skull like the weight of many unspoken years. But Herodus never complained. He believed suffering quietly was a form of strength. There goes the old vegetable seller. Some adults nodded politely. Others bargained harshly, squeezing every coin as if the old man's sweat had no value. Herodus accepted it all in silence. Long ago, he had been strong. In his youth, he worked the fields, lifted sacks of grain, and carried stones for building wells. Life had taught him one lesson, again and again. Endure. When his wife died early, when his son left the village and never returned, when illness made his hands shake, Herodus endured. And so, even now, he endured his own body. Each day as he walked to the weekly market, his neck burned and his spine screamed. Sometimes his vision blurred, but when the pain rose, he scolded himself inside. "Others suffer more than you," he would mutter. "Do not be weak. Keep walking." One summer morning, the heat arrived early and angry. The air felt thick, as if the village itself was holding its breath. Herodus placed the basket on his head and began his walk. After a few steps, his legs wobbled. "Still," he continued. Halfway to the market stood an old peepul tree, its shade wide and generous. Many travelers rested there. That day, as Herodus reached the tree, his body finally betrayed him. His knees gave way and he sat down hard, the basket rolling off his head and spilling vegetables onto the ground. For a moment, he just sat there, ashamed. "Look at you," he scolded himself. "You cannot even carry your own burden." As he tried to stand, a soft voice spoke from the shade. "Why do you speak so harshly to yourself, old friend?" Herodus looked up. Beneath the peepul tree sat an old wanderer wrapped in faded saffron cloth. His eyes were calm, deep, like still water. No one in the village remembered when the wanderer had arrived. He simply appeared from time to time, resting beneath trees, offering no sermons unless asked. "I am lazy," Herodus replied bitterly. "My body is weak. If I stop, who will feed me?" The wanderer smiled gently. "You call yourself weak, yet you rise every morning and carry a load heavier than your years. Is that weakness?" Herodus did not answer. The wanderer picked up a fallen tomato and placed it back in the basket. "Tell me," he asked, "if this basket cracked, would you curse it or repair it?" "I would repair it," Herodus said. "And if a bullock collapsed under a heavy cart, I would remove the load." The wanderer nodded. "Then why do you show more kindness to baskets and animals than to your own body?" Herodus felt something tighten in his chest. "My life has taught me to be hard," he said quietly. "If I rest, hunger waits. If primera compla, y no one listens." The wanderer looked at him with eyes full of understanding. "Being kind to yourself is not the same as giving up. A lamp that burns without oil does not prove devotion. It proves foolishness." Slowly, the wanderer lifted the basket and removed a portion of the vegetables, placing them in a cloth beside him. "Carry less today," he said. "Sell fewer vegetables. Rest under this tree before you go on." Herodus hesitated. Every habit inside him screamed, "No." But his body, aching and trembling, whispered, "Yes." He obeyed. That day he reached the market late. He sold fewer vegetables and earned fewer coins. Yet something strange happened. He returned home without collapsing. That night, his sleep was deep and dreamless. The next morning, Herodus did something unthinkable. He lightened his basket. Villagers noticed. "Why are you selling less?" one asked. "Getting old, are we?" Another laughed. Herodus felt shame rise, but then he remembered the wanderer's words. He stood straight and replied softly, "Yes, and I must take care of what remains." This Past, Herodas began resting beneath the peepal tree each morning. He drank water. He breathed. He stopped calling himself weak. Something else changed, too. Because he walked slower, people noticed him more. A tea seller began offering him a cup at half price. A woman once paid extra, saying, "Your vegetables taste sweeter." Children started helping him pick up fallen produce. One afternoon, a young man asked, "Baba, why don't you stop working?" Herodas smiled gently. "Because work keeps me alive, but kindness, especially to myself, keeps me whole." Weeks later, during the monsoon, Herodas fell ill. This time, he did not force himself to the market. He rested. The villagers checked on him. The tea seller sent soup. The woman sent rice. As he lay on his cot, rain tapping softly on the roof, Herodas understood something he had never allowed himself to believe. Suffering is not holiness. Rest is not weakness. Self-kindness is not selfishness. When he recovered, his basket never returned to its old weight. His walk never became fast again, but his face grew peaceful, and sometimes, under the peepal tree, villagers swore they saw the old wanderer smiling, though no one could ever find him. From that day on, the village remembered an old tale, the man who learned to carry his burden lightly, by first learning to be kind to himself.